everyone. This is Stuff I Find Interesting Special Edition Art Part 2. We are going to talk about the pieces we were looking into last time, but we're going to go a little deeper because I looked up some stuff that I want to share with you. So let me get myself situated here. This is the art, the greatest paintings of all time. That's the book that these are pulled from. And we are going to start with this piece right here. So this piece right here, it's the Nebamun tablet. And he was a middle-ranking official scribe and grain accountant during the period of the New Kingdom in ancient Egypt. So this would have been 1350 BCE. He worked at the vast temple complex near Thebes, now Luxor, where the state god Amun was worshipped. His name was translated as "My Lord is Amun," and his association with the temple, coupled with the importance of grain supplies to Egypt, meant that he was a person of considerable practical importance, though not of the highest rank. And he is known today because we discovered this tablet. So that's Nebamun. Now we're going to go to Russian art through the ages. That is not what I was looking for. Russian art through the ages. So we start out with religious art in the Russian iconostasis. You can see kind of what this looks like if any of you have been to, maybe like your best friend's grandma growing up or something. Someone that was really old world. You might have seen something like this on the wall. They're part of the Orthodox Christian Church. This is the Virgin Alusha, who I've never heard of. Then we go into Parsunas, which are the sort of the portraits, which is what this is. You can see the sort of the similarities. It's blocky. There's no background other than color, and the fields are a little bit more simple, with the hair being extremely detailed. Then when Peter the Great came to power, he got really into architecture and visual art, and things started to get a little fancier. And then things got more real. There was a lot of artists who did some beautiful landscapes in the late 1800s. Ivan, I think it's Shushkin is one of my favorites. You think I could remember his last name? Then we go into the Soviet era. Things get a little weirder, and now we're in contemporary art. And contemporary art is basically everything. Everybody's doing everything. That's it right there. Okay, now we're talking about the painted apse of Saint Clement and Taul with Christ in Majesty. And that was this thing here. And I was discussing whether it was a frieze or whether it was a fresco. Wait, is that the word? Yes, that is a fresco. I had a moment. So this is actually, wait, I wrote it down. Did I write it down? Wait, it says here. It's a fresco, which meant that the lime plaster was still wet when this was painted on. And then it says when the wall dried, further details were added. And that's why I thought it was a frieze, because frescoes age a little differently than friezes because of the way they're applied. Now we're going to go to the Annunciation. Okay, so this particular work, I looked it up, is 184 by 168 centimeters, roughly 72 inches, so it's like over 5 feet, like 6 feet something. So it's not as big as I thought, but it's not small either. And as I indicated, there are, did I not save it? There are a lot of different Annunciation, different paintings, and I guess I didn't save that, or I saved it in another spot. We're going to keep it moving, though. This is Pietro Lorenzetti. We were talking about how his stuff all kind of looks the same. You can see the same colors, same style. People look the same. Forced perspective. I don't know. I really like his stuff. I think it's kind of cool. Visually, it's very appealing to me for some reason. This is an homage to Paolo Uccello, and that particular work is this next one here. This one. So this is an homage to him, and this is by Battaglia di San Romano, painted in 1996. Okay, Piero della Fresco. Why did I save that one? Hold on, I got to get caught up to myself. Oh, right. He painted the Duke and the Duchess of Urbino. He was he made out really well. He was like the guy. Like if you wanted a painting, he was the guy. Um, he was one of the most important old masters in early Renaissance art. He was an expert in geometry and mathematics. He was a leading pioneer of painting techniques such as linear perspective and foreshortening. Almost all of his painting was religious art, being mostly altarpieces or mural paintings for churches. His own particular brand of Renaissance art was characterized by mathematically precise construction of spatial depth together with the three-dimensional modeling of his figures. And then I was talking about how I thought that it was tempera, and it is. These paintings are tempera. He also did some fresco painting, apparently, which I did not know. So I learned something new. And that would be this painting here. And then there's the guy with the disfigured face on the other side that you can't see because he faced him that way. Then, maybe then I go into the Annunciation. Maybe. I do. Look at that. The Annunciation in Art, a story about inspiration. So this goes into how the Annunciation is portrayed in art from a very early time, from the 1400s up till more modern times. So this would have been in 1470 something. And this is 1914. This is John Waterhouse. John Waterhouse, very popular painter, was almost looked down upon by his peers because his stuff became so commercial. So if it was commercial, therefore it wasn't any good. But he was technically brilliant, and his stuff is gorgeous. And now people have come around and said, oh yeah, technically he was a great artist. But the themes he chose were maybe like sentimental or just kind of a little over the top, too pretty. Some people like their art messy, Here's another Annunciation. This is the one with Mary going, no. Another one. This is Fra Angelico. And this is interesting. This is the one that's always on Ancient Aliens. And they always say, oh, look, it's a UFO shining down on the Virgin Mary. So I don't know. I don't think it's a UFO. I think it's probably like in the painting, it's probably meant to be like the light of God coming down upon her. But sure, UFO. I could see that. But look at the detail. We have bird. You can tell there's a room kind of beyond there. We have the that gorgeous rug. We can see into her room. There's a conversation going on here. Just a fantastic painting. And that's it. But there are a lot more. I didn't want to make this too long. So we were talking about rabbits, and we were talking about St. Francis, and I said I thought that the rabbit meant something, and the rabbit means humility and purity. So there you go. So St. Francis is practicing humility and purity in that picture. Next we go to this one, Bacchus and Ariadne. So he fell in love with her big time. He was like, oh my God. So he's like basically walking by with his entourage. He's walking kind of one way and she's kind of walking the other way. And he comes upon her and he's in the front with all of his people behind him. And he's like, holy cow, who is that woman? I love her so much. And so he married her, and they lived a long time. They had a beautiful love story. And when she died, he put her into the sky as a constellation. It's a myth, obviously. People don't become constellations. Well, kind of in the really, really, really long term. All right, now we're heading into, let's see. Yeah, she was actually about to commit suicide in that painting. That's where she was going. She was going to fling herself off some cliff somewhere. And he fell in love with her. And she was like, oh my God, I love you too. I'm not going to commit suicide. And so she didn't commit suicide. The Ambassadors. This is the one with the skull. With these two guys who I thought were brothers. They're not brothers. So Hans Holbein, the younger, was unquestionably one of the best portrait artists of the German Renaissance, and along with such artists as Albrecht Dürer, helped to enrich the late German Gothic art, one of my favorites, as exemplified by the work of Matthias Grunwald, with the progressive features of the Florentine Renaissance. During his early period in Basel, he produced numerous types of art, ranging from large format mythological painting, which was very popular, and Protestant Reformation art, to woodcuts and miniature painting. So he ended up settling on portraiture, and these guys are just, these are merchants. So this is a wealthy landowner, ambassador to the King of France, and his friend George de Selve, the Bishop of Lavaur. So I was totally wrong about who they were. But that's who they were. So the work is suffused with hidden meanings and symbolic features in the best tradition of the Northern Renaissance and the later Vanitas painting of the 17th century. So Vanitas painting is this kind of thing, where you'd have like a glass and a dying flower and then a skull. You know, very dramatic, very dark background. Okay, we're almost done. Okay, Henry VIII, we know Henry VIII. St. George and the Dragon. So St. George is the patron saint of England, as well as the namesake of our charity and its 248-year-old legacy. So there's a St. George's Society. I have no idea what that is. I just pulled it up and went, huh, that's interesting, and I saved it. You guys can look at it some other time. It's a medieval myth with deep roots that captured the imagination of Western Europe's age of chivalry. So this myth somehow became like equated with this myth, almost like American Eagles, and like things just become important somehow through. Amid a gathering storm, St. George kills a dragon with his lance, Ascalon. In doing so, he saves the life of the princess who is next in line to be sacrificed to the beast in order to keep her safe. It is a myth with a long pedigree in the tradition of the Greek story of Perseus and Andromeda. George was reputed to be a Greek-born Roman soldier, a member of the 3rd century Emperor Diocletian's Praetorian Guard, who was martyred possibly in what is now the Palestinian town of Lydda after converting to Christianity. George was venerated by both Byzantine Christians and Muslims and remains of special significance to Christian Arabs. So that's another reason why I like this guy, because everybody, he just kind of fits in everywhere. And at the time that this was coming up, this myth of dragons, like if you think about the map making that was going on at the time, there would be dragons in the outer, corners, because we didn't know where everything was. So people would draw like, oh, there must be monsters out there and sea monsters. And so we were fascinated with dragons at that time, I guess. And it became kind of, people kind of ran with it. It started showing up in art a lot more. All right, next we have Georges Latour, and that's the guy who did this thing, who I said I loved so much. I don't know what it is about that painting, just the colors, just wow. The Fortune Teller is an oil painting of 1630 by the French artist Georges Latour. I guess it kind of went missing until like 1960, and then it came to light, and the Metropolitan Museum of Art was like, "Oh yeah, yeah, we'll take that. We'll take that painting. We'll put it on our wall." A lot of his paintings are, you can see, church related, but then he painted ones that are slightly different, like this one. Although the title is "Repenting Magdalene," also called Magdalene, in a flickering light, and she has a skull on her lap, and she's thinking, but. It's very beautiful picture. That's a terrible copy of it. Okay, moving on. We're talking about Goethe. Anybody know how to say that? All right, we're heading into the end. Oh, wait, what did I do? Did I do that? What did I do? I don't know what I did. Uno momento, por favor. Oh, yeah, okay. I'm not talking about every single painting because then it would be like another 40 minutes and you guys would like fall asleep on me. I was working up to, there's the creepy child. I guess I have to kind of give this a minute to load up. I can keep talking. So Sarah Siddons, she was the one in that picture. This is the painting here that we were talking about. And you can see that a lot of people painted a lot of pictures of this woman, like I referenced previously. She posed for a lot of portraits. So she shows up in some very famous paintings. There are other women that would pose for paintings and they would be put into situations. So it would be them, but they would be, they would be an angel or they would be, coming out of the sea or whatever the case may be. Marat is a painting by Jacques-Louis David. That's this one here. And he was stabbed to death by Charlotte Corday, a Girondin and political enemy of Marat, who blamed Marat for the September massacre. Corday gained entrance to Marat's dwelling with a note promising details about a counter-revolutionary ring. So this chick stabbed him. She went to the guillotine, apparently. And I think that might be it. There was just something else I wanted to share with you. Well, at any rate, that's it for now. I'm not going to sit here and wait for this stupid thing to load up. So that's art. That was art, part 1. If enough people like it, there'll be a part 2. I know I'm a little crooked. My camera sort of just slipped a little. This is the Jaron Jackson Jr. fake conspiracy. It'll be included in the links. And it talks about a picture that became a... No, this isn't it. This talks about sports. How? What? Never mind. Back it up. Rewind. I don't know what I'm talking about. This is about a forgery that was attributed to Goya. And Goya didn't do it. And there's a whole story about it. And you can read. You can read the story. This is a better picture of it. When City on a Rock was purchased in Spain in the mid-1880s by an American collector, it was attributed to Francisco de Goya, 1746 to 1828. The painting is now thought to be one of Goya's followers and may have been painted as late as 1850 to 1875. The artist has studied Goya's technique and has produced a painting sufficiently close to his style that it was accepted by most authorities until about 1970. This picture appears to be a pastiche, as many compositional elements derive from the autograph works by Goya. And this picture's just, I really like this one. Yeah, we're going to download that. That's definitely going to become a background. So this is a picture of that chapel that painted, that Gothic looking chapel. That's not a painting. And then John Glover was the guy who painted his garden. He was an Englishman who moved to Australia. And I don't know where I was going with this, so I guess I can't blow them up. Okay, never mind. So that concludes art, part 1, with a brief discussion and then a deeper look. I'll probably do it the same next time. And I hope you enjoyed.